Welcome to Mimi's Math Channel. Today I will be solving systems of equations with matrices. What you see here is the descriptions of everything. So these are your systems. This first matrix is going to be your coefficient matrix. The second one is your variable matrix. And then finally a set equal to the constant matrix. For example 1, I'm asked to rewrite the matrix as a system of equations. So I know my coefficient is 2, and then it's multiplied times x, and then I take the 3 and I multiply times y. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the first element times the second, so that's 2x, and then the second element times the second, which is positive 3y. Now I'm setting that equal to negative 13. I'm going to do the same thing for the next row. So it's just multiplying. We've learned that before, so I'm just multiplying that information. So I have negative 1 times x. I'm just going to put negative x. If you want to put negative 1x, that's fine. And then plus 4y, and we're setting this equal to negative 21. So that's all I was asked to do in this example. So here I'm asked to rewrite the systems of equations as a matrix equation. So I already have my systems. I'm just going to take it apart. I'm going to put my coefficient down here. So my coefficients are 8, negative 3, negative 6, and positive 1. So make sure you're keeping up with your signs. And then the next one I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply times my variable matrix, which in this case is x and y, but it's not always going to be x and y. It can be any variables that you choose. And I'm going to set that equal to the constants 2 and 3. Example 3, we want to make sure that the systems are in the correct form, which is ax plus by equals c. I'm going to go ahead and do the coefficient one first. So that's 4, negative 5, and then I have negative 1, positive 3. I'm going to multiply that times the variable, which again is going to be xy, and then I'm going to set that equal to the constant, which is 1 and negative 10. So let me go ahead and give these names. So this is going to be matrix A, matrix X, and matrix B. So what I want to do is I'm trying to get X on the side by itself. So I have to take the A inverse. And once I do that on one side, I have to turn around and do it on the opposite side so I can balance my equation. And this will just go away. So the determinant of A is going to be where you multiply diagonally. So I have 4 times 3, which is 12. And then I subtract that from diagonally negative 5 times negative 1, which is positive 5. So my determinant is 7. So now for the next step, which is my A inverse, what I have to do is take 1 over my determinant, which we just said was 7. And then I'm going to take my matrix A and I'm going to swap the first and the last numbers. So I have a 3 here and then a 4 in the last position. And then what I'm going to do with the next two is I'm just going to change the sign. So instead of negative 1, it's positive 1. Instead of negative 5, it's positive 5. And what I am supposed to do with this information is I'm supposed to multiply it times B. So remember I said what we do to one side, we do to the other. So that's going to be 1 and negative 10. So this is actually me multiplying A inverse times B. So what I'm going to do is I'm just, instead of multiplying this 1/7 by the first matrix that I see, I'm going to go ahead and multiply this first row times the first column. So that's going to give me 3 minus 10, which is again 3 times 1, 1 times negative 10. Then I'm going to go to the next row in the same column and I'm going to do the same thing. So then I have 5 and negative 40. We had a 2 by 2 and this one is a 2 by 1. So that allowed us to multiply because we had the same middle number. So I'm going to take this part and that recognize that's what my answer is going to look like. It's going to be a 2 by 1. And all of this is still, remember, set equal to that variable matrix, so x, y. And then on this side, which is A inverse B, so it's going to be 1 over 7. And now I know I'm looking for a 2 by 1 answer. So this was 3 minus 10, which was negative 7, and then 5 minus 40, which was negative 35. And once I further simplify this, I now have the matrix x, y is equal to negative 7 divided by 7, which is negative 1, and negative 35 divided by 7, 2, which is -5. Some people actually write it out as coordinates, so that would be -1, -5, where -1 is your x and -5 is your y. So I also wanted to show you how to enter this in the calculator. So if you have a TI-84, this is how you would do it. You go to second, matrix, go over to edit, tell it which dimensions you want. We're going to use the same one that we just had, which is going to be a 2 by 2. So 2, enter 2, and then we're just going to go ahead and put the numbers in there. 4, -1. Make sure you're using the correct negative sign. -5, 3. I want to go back in there and go ahead and put in the constant one. So we're going to go down to 2, which is B, and that one was a 2 by 1, and the answers or the elements were 1 and -10. Go back out. So second mode, I'm putting in this information. So this was for my A matrix, and then this was for my B. So second matrix, and then go to math and hit 1, which is your determinant. And then it's going to ask you which one do you want. So go back to second matrix, and we're going to choose number 1. And that told us that 7 was our determinant. Go back to second matrix. We're going to also choose 1 again, but this time we want to do the inverse. On your calculator keypad, just hit the X inverse button, and you can do step by step, or you can just go ahead and multiply times B, which is what I'm going to do. And that's going to be second matrix, go down to B, hit enter. And once I hit enter, we said that our answer was going to be -1 and -5. So let's see what the calculator says. The same thing. That's it for the video. Like and subscribe.